up almost half of the world's farmers. With that said, as the global community works toward achieving the Sustainable Development Goals, which aims to end hunger and malnutrition by 2030, women can be the key agents of change in agriculture, nutrition and rural development. With better access to information, training and technology, women can alter food production and consumption so that land and resources are used sustainably. However, women have been facing challenges getting this information and new technology to boost agriculture. In today's segment, we're focusing on women in agriculture. And in studio, I'm joined by two ladies from the African Women Agribusiness Network, Felicia Muriuki, who's in the honey business, and Suzanne Njeri, who's in the fish farming business. And ladies, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right, I'd just like us to start off. Thank you for gracing us with your presence. I'd like us to start off with underlining for us briefly the state of women in agriculture from your different positions and from your point of view.
Mm-hmm.
Who'd like to start first?
I can go first.
All right, there you go.
As you rightly mentioned, women are the backbone of agriculture, not only in Kenya, in East Africa, and even in Africa indeed. And more than 70% of these women are the people who produce food in our countries. But unfortunately for us, very few of that is felt. Do they receive the benefits of that? So I think coming here today and talking about women in agriculture, and even in our own businesses, we want to see how we can strengthen this and see women reaping more benefits from agriculture as opposed to toiling in agriculture and agribusiness, but not reaping the values from it.
All right. Yeah. Now, Suzanne, you're into the fish business. Maybe you can give us your take from that angle.
Well, in the fishery
you
sector...
went, it's like you don't even know where to start from.
Well, yeah, it's pretty wide. But when you look at it, fisheries was more known because of capture fisheries. Now we have aquaculture, which a lot more women are now engaged in practically and physically on a day-to-day basis, unlike where they have to wait for the fishermen to come in with a catch, for them then now to take it on and then sell it at the markets. It has not been easy. Remember that aquaculture is literally a very new baby on the block, having started in 2009 during the economic stimulus program. The information that came from there, because it was a stimulus program that kind of jerked up the sector, we didn't have so much information from start to end, apart from what we got from the extension. So we kind of learned on, it was work in progress.
Yeah.
So that's where we've come from. But yes, women have been able to live up to the challenge. We are fantastic producers. I think a lot of women have taken it up. And due to the fact that it's now pond-based, it's easily manageable because it's within your compound. Now we've even gone an extra mile. We are in cages on the lake.
Wow.
So given the opportunity, women will be able to explore and be able to take that up and move the next step. Because we've been used to the traditional thing of its capture, its export. But then what about the local? And that's where we are looking at focusing on. Can we feed ourselves first as we think about how do we then feed the other guys?
All right, and which leads me to my second question. The majority of women in Kenya comprise of the high number of small and medium-scale farmers. Why is it that they do not benefit from their efforts?
I think one of the challenges is who are we building it for? Is it sustainable agriculture, or is it building for your homestead, as opposed to, are you doing the agriculture and the agribusiness, adding value to it for market, and which markets? So it's that whole thing of start with the end in mind and get the right soil, your soil tested, get the professionals in, get the right agronomists in to educate and to build your business as a business, not as a hobby, not as something that you take time off to do. So I think there's a big challenge in how we practice agriculture. Yes, we have the capacity, but I think we have to use the right technology. We have to use the right breeds if we're doing livestock or even breeding the right seeds. And then the logistics of how do we get to market. Because we can do all the right things on the farm and then fail in going to market or even reaching the right markets. So always start with the end in mind. And sometimes it means I have only 5 acres. what are my other neighbors doing and what research did I do to get to grow what I'm growing. So can I even come together with my neighbors and bulk and go to market? I mean, technology is amazing in helping us leapfrog some of these things. And I think the more we know about it and the more we're using it and learn from others, extension services, yes, but also field visits. We've seen some very successful farms, and it's very meaningful to go and see what others are doing and what they're succeeding in. So sharing that information and having a platform where you can even read and educate yourself and learn and do better, because I think the opportunities are there. We just have not left us
comfort zone as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
I also think that when we start our agribusiness ventures, we never think far ahead. We are always just within here. And that limits us, because when we get to a place of, say, being successful, then we don't know how to explode beyond there, because we only projected for 300 chicken. And then now when we get the opportunity for 1,000, you're stuck. We are completely stuck. And then having a challenge, again, like she said, of if we could be able to take in the numbers, what's my neighbor doing? So that we can also have consistency. I have 300 chicken in January, she has in February, the next person in March, the next person in April. So when you're also serving a market, you're able to serve a market continuously throughout the year. Getting technical expertise, proper technical expertise, it's not only the academia or the extension. For me, going to learn from experience. We shy off from wanting to pay a farmer to learn from them. But you know, that's the guy who's been through it all. So we need to invest more in ourselves in being able to see what's the next person doing and learn from it. Because then that way it stops you from reinventing the wheel that the other person did. So you're able to flow seamlessly without having to go through the challenges that the others have experienced.
Okay, Felicia and Suzanne, what I'm getting from you is that in a nutshell, you as a farmer, you should be able to properly do your research. So what is stopping the farmers from doing the research? Is it the fact that the information is not visible enough? What is stopping our farmers, especially the women, from doing our research? Before we start talking about also the other challenges that women go through
I think one of the things that has been there is the hype. Tomatoes are in season, let's all plant tomatoes. So everybody plants tomatoes without even thinking, is it right for my area? What capacity am I going to do? Now, one of the challenges of generally the African farmer, the minute you give me 10 acres of land, I think about tilling the 10 acres of land. I don't think about going it gradually. So that's one of our biggest challenges, and we need to change the mindset by being able to go small, but then be able to do better productivity. Two, like she said, we're not looking at our soils. We assume that because my grandfather put manure, that's the same thing I'm going to do. And because the agronomist I find who says put DAP, CN, is it the right manure for my crop? Is it the right thing for my soil? So we need to understand that CalRO is now accessible to us. Before there's been a big disconnect between the practitioner and research.
All right.
They are now trying to come down to our levels. We need to do more, government needs to do more, counties need to do more, farmers' field days. You know, those opportunities need to come out. So the more it's closer home. Not everybody can come to the Nairobi show, but I can be able to go to Kisumu show. So the more we can be able to access field demonstrations, coming closer to home, then it gives us the opportunity to be able to open up our eyes and look at things from a totally different perspective.